So I just need to stop cloud recording. I want to start the recording again. All right. So I'm ready to go when you are to start recording it.
Okay. It's Wednesday, the 12th of August 2020. In today's show, we are catching up on all the club news since the last pod, including a raft of incoming and outgoing players, a new kit, season tickets going on sale, changes to the academy setup, and not to be outdone, the Seasiders Podcast also announces a new signing to its team. I'm Josh Bill, this is the Seasiders Podcast, episode 168. Signings galore. Good evening, all you pool fans out there. Welcome back to the Seasiders Podcast, episode 168. We're back on a traditional, old school, as it was, episode where we're all in the virtual studio again. From Bloomfield Road is Mr. Tim Fielding, sat in the East stand in the press box, I believe.
And it's still sweltering here at this time of night. It's amazing.
So, Tim, you've just come back from your middle-class holiday in Oxford, haven't you? How was it?
Oh, it was. I managed not to pick any injuries up.
Most pleasant.
It was splendid. So we did Oxfordshire, Berkshire, whatever else. I can't remember where else we went now. Gloucestershire.
So you were on a boat, weren't you?
Yeah, we picked a boat up just south of Oxford and sort of sauntered down to Windsor and back. So I'm quite glad I'm on it this week. Last week, sorry, not this week, because it's been a bit too hot, I think, and they've also had quite a bit of rain down there as well, I think, over the last 2 days with the thunderstorms. So, it was great. I can highly recommend it.
Speaking of rain, you had an unfortunate incident in your house as well, I believe, during the biblical storm.
Yeah, I thought you were going to introduce me as Noah, actually.
I actually put that on the WhatsApp chat and it didn't get any response.
I know it. It was noted. I first thought, "Who's Noah? We got another new signing," and then I sort of realised you were extracting the Michael. So on when we had those horrible storms on, God, I'm losing track now. Was it Monday night?
Monday night, yeah.
Monday night, Tuesday morning. I got rather rudely awakened about 1:30 by "Get yourself downstairs," and we were about an inch underwater in the garage and in Sam's room. So we spent the next 3 hours bailing out. So I have a funny feeling something gone on there because there's other properties got isolated ones. It tends to be ones that are quite close to drains. So when the drains get full, they back up. But I don't think the proper pumps came on. But so I've been taking some mild stick about it, and anybody wants to see, go and look at my Facebook page. You'll see a picture of us all bailing out about 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, constructing an ark. There was pairs of animals being loaded on there. Ollie the dog was there, wasn't he?
There's all sorts of jokes to be told. I think I've been getting it for a while, I think.
You know, it's that hot. My bins are steaming up while I'm talking. But anyway,
I've got my doors open. It's still roasting. It's very warm, isn't it?
I like it hot, but not this hot. It's one of Peter Kay's gags, isn't it? So yeah, as I mentioned in the intro, rather, we've made a new signing, Mr. Sam Fielding. We're keeping it in the family. We've got a new presenter on board, son of Tim. Sam, you've done a couple of guests on here in the past, but now welcome to the team. So for anyone who's not heard you on here in the past or was not aware of you, would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, as you said, I'm Sam, 25. I've been supporting Blackpool since I was born, though some might say I had a 3-year spell down the road at Fleetwood. Into media, worked at Fleetwood Town for 3 years as part of their media team, but as most people know, Blackpool through and through, and delighted to be part of the Seasiders Podcast team.
Excellent. So you do have experience commentating as well, don't you? You were AFC filed for a bit. You
Did a few things with Foul Coast Radio. Sydney Tangerina goes on there. Don, he kind of sorted me a gig out, and we did a few things, a preview show, and we did games home and some away. Wasn't getting paid, so it was all off my own back. And that got me a gig at Radio Wave as well, where I was commentator doing match summaries for Filed. So it's been a journey, shall we say, to get to where I am now. But the future's bright, and we'll see where it leads. Because
and Tangerine, of course.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be
steal your thunder, did I?
The first one, no Timisms.
Hey, we'll have to get some Samisms.
It's the first one. We'll take it steady, John. Take it steady.
So another announcement just for the listeners. We've been toying with the idea of doing a preview show on Friday. So hopefully Sam's going to be taking the lead on that. So it's something I think we should all look forward to if the season starts. Well, hopefully it starts and we're all there. But yeah, so we're going to be doing a preview show on Friday. Sam's going to be doing that. So something to look forward to. Any plans, any sort of features you want to publicise on that, Sam? Was it live on Facebook? Was it? Well, not as content. Just was it going to be a live stream? We're thinking of doing a live stream.
Yeah, the idea of doing a live stream and getting fans involved and getting their thoughts, potentially getting a fan on the show each week just to talk about what they're going to get up to. Again, I think we've all been away from the club too long. I know last year people were back, but again, a fresh start, a new manager in charge of the club. Again, just something different that fans can hopefully jump on board, and we'll see where it goes throughout the season. I think it's got potential to go far, similar to what I've done at Fleetwood on Facebook in the past.
Only the difference is this time people will be listening to it.
Yeah, we had a few hundred, shall we say, on there.
When you've got a fan base of one man and his dog, it doesn't matter how good your output is, you're kind of pissing in the wind, aren't you?
It was good.
Wear and hair as well, as I just did. Or as Tim does when he's had 3 bottles of vintage cider.
Tim's ruin.
Someone mentioned that, didn't they, Tim, on Facebook? Was it Martin Grace, I think? Tim just put a post on there, a picture of beer, didn't you? And he said, is it not a pint of old Tim's ruin?
Never touching that stuff again from Aldi, tell you. Well, just picking up that point about doing the show on Friday and upping the sort of social media content, I think it's got a massive part to play moving forward, because particularly with us not being in the stadium and at least until October, and I suspect now somewhat longer than that, I think there's a real gap there for not just us but anybody, for other people to exploit, the club to exploit, where we can hopefully engage with fans who will be looking for that pre-match content, because they're not going to be going necessarily to the pub and meeting their mates and talking about it in the same way. And I think there's scope for a preview show and also some post-match analysis as well. So hopefully we can take the lead on that. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
Yeah, it's part of our 3-pronged plan, wasn't it, to get 3 shows out of the way? A regular show like this, a preview show, and a immediate after-match show with some new technology that I've obtained thanks to some of the patron subscribers. So we've paid for a service there that's going to allow us to get more pods out quicker and faster and straight after the game. Right, so Sam, just very quickly, what's it like to be a Blackpool fan again and not have to kind of hide the fact that you're a Blackpool fan? Is it a relief in a way that you can get back to supporting your club?
It was, and I think I posted something on social media. I think it was Sky Bet posted the Forest away game in the playoff, and it's the first time I've tweeted about Blackpool really in 3 years, and I just thought the response, the likes and retweets that I got, it was just massive compared to anything I've done with Fleetwood, and no disrespect to them.
Yeah,
it just felt a relief. And I know Martin, if he's going to listen back to this, Martin Booker, he sent me a little message. I won't go into the details, but we had a bit of a chuckle between us, obviously both working at Fleetwood and being massive Blackpool fans. But I think it's just, it's a bit of a relief, and long may it continue.
Yeah.
Let's hope I don't get a job elsewhere where I can't commit to supporting the Tangerines.
Well, hopefully, if there's any jobs going at the media team, we've got a man here if anyone's listening. In fact, Martin, I messaged Martin on Twitter, see if he wants to come on the pod. He's ghosted me. He's off my, get him, so we spoke to him, Tim, didn't we, at the, in your box? I mentioned it to him, though.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah, I saw him around there. He said he'd be up for it. So maybe just missed the message anyway.
Yeah. They've been a bit busy, to be fair, obviously, with all the furlough and that was going on. So they've had a period where they've not been in the club themselves. I mean, most clubs, have furloughed all but a skeleton staff. And then they come back and they've got a hell of a lot to do in a very short space of time. And there's all this uncertainty about when we can get back in, how does the season ticket package need to look, etc. And he's probably just been very, very busy. I know he comes to our Seasiders Business Club meetings, and he's had to pass on the last two, probably for similar reason.
Okay, I'll let him off then, just this once. Right,
Draw me one, Martin.
Right, let's get on with the content, shall we? So, I think the first thing we're going to talk about is the transfer activity over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And Tim, unprecedented times at Blackpool in that we're doing business early, and also we're taking the best players off other clubs. And
Swindon, we're going to take the best players off Swindon.
We're actually outbidding clubs and we're offering better packages, which is kind of unprecedented. And the first player in was Keshi Anderson from Swindon Town, 2-year contract. We have the club have an extension, an option to extend. We took him from Swindon. So, what's your opinions on him? Sam will come to you after Tim, because Tim tells me that you've got an encyclopedic knowledge of League One and League Two players. So, no pressure.
No pressure at all. I'll keep it. I'll keep it a little bit more general. I think. I endorse the point you make that it's been refreshing, hasn't it, to be in a race for a player and actually win it, and have the players want to come here and us not be last resort and the and the place everybody comes when they can't find another club. And it's fantastic to see us doing this business early. Obviously there's a policy there. It seems to me. I don't think we've finished, but I think there's a policy there to make sure that we've got the backbone of a very good team together before pre-season started, and rather than have all these players that will be playing the first team coming at the last minute, and then how many years have we had players come in and then they need 4 or 5 weeks to get themselves up to speed? And so it's been almost a bit of a wow moment, I think, for Blackpool fans, where we've actually seen a commitment to a policy and has actually followed through on that. And I doubt there's many Blackpool fans alive who can remember a time when we actually had that type of forethought. I
think the only time I can think of was, do you remember that season when we signed Andy Priest and who else?
Oh, it was the period of Ellis. It was 1995-96 season. It was the end of that season when Owen was convicted, and we did. To be fair, I can't remember the timings because you didn't have transfer windows then, did you? So I can't remember the timings, but we.
It's kind of the only times when we didn't scrape the bottom of the barrel, isn't it?
Yeah, we had Andy Morrison. We had a really good team that year, to be fair, when you go through it. And Andy, a couple of older players like Andy Barlow and Rick Holden came in from Oldham. But the big one, of course, was when we stole Ellis from Preston, which was a real standout moment.
I was in Preston as well when that happened.
So they were shocked.
I think rather than just listing each one of these players and saying, what do you think of them, what do you think of them, because we don't really know, do we?
Well, you do. You've spent
yes.
You spent the last month interviewing every single podcaster from every, from Orient, from Swindon,
doing some networking, getting those tentacles out there,
It's part of the, to be fair, they've been quite interesting to listen to, I think, and to get that insight as to what's going on at other clubs, and particularly as regards players who will be turning out in Tangerine this year. So yeah, every credit on that.
Thank you, Tim. Praise is.
It's not often given, but when
No,
it's justified.
I'm actually lost for words. What's the word? Gets a warm feeling right there. Right, so the first bit of business we did then was Keshi Anderson, Sam. We've also taken Jerry Yates, not from them, but obviously he was there all season. Given what you know about League One and I guess a bit about the lower leagues as well, what's your opinion on Jerry Yates and Keshi Anderson?
I think obviously looking at Keshi Anderson first, he's a young player, mid-20s, who he looks to be an exciting prospect going forward. I'd look at his stats earlier today, and 22 appearances last season, 6 goals, 5 assists, works out a goal every 218 minutes. So he's a player I think there's still a lot to learn at his age. But again, huge prospect, and with him playing with Yates last season at Swindon, where they finished second, they both know each other's game well, which can only help. I know you do pre-season anyway to have that chemistry and understanding of the runs people make and how they're going to cross the ball. But again, he won't be the finished article, and he's going to be one of those players that Critchley will take under his wing, shall we say, to improve him, because these players can, again, they've got to have the ambition to play higher and help Blackpool push up the leagues. And I think it's the same with Yates, really. 23, another youngster, again, fitting in with that Critchley model of where he's been at Liverpool. 36 appearances last year, 14 goals, 1 assist. You don't read into that as a striker, but again, a really chance for him to prove himself at League One next season.
So yeah, it's a good point you've made there, actually, in the fact that they know each other and you don't have to waste time learning each other's games. So it's a decent observation. And there was a lot of noise on Twitter, Tim, wasn't there, about Jerry Yates? I remember Nick was championing him quite a lot, and I was like thinking, who's this Jerry Yates? I was like, meh. But then when I realised, when I spoke to the guy from Swindon, he was a good lad, actually. He was a good lad. He was not devastated, but he was the player he really wanted.
Yeah,
to keep Jerry Yates. So
yeah, I think he's the one he thought could step up another level. I think he said words to that effect, didn't he? I think the other thing that stands out to me, and is something that Sam sort of touched on in those 2 initial breakdowns, is the age of the players. You know, they're all looking down this. A lot of them are 23, 24. They're the right age, and they've got that potential ability to push on. And the other thing that's encouraging is the length of the contracts. You know, we've got, you know, even with all contracts, they are the fixed term plus a year option. So effectively, with all of them, we've got them either on 3 or 4 year terms, and that's very, very encouraging, because you can see hopefully some stability in relation to the squad moving forward, and that should hopefully give us a platform to, you know, be fighting at the right end of the league and hopefully getting ourselves back up into the Championship.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't just let the contracts expire like's happened in the past, you know, likes of David Vaughan going, and
it's like perennial irritant with me that the players we let go for nothing, just simply for that reason you've spoken about. So yeah, it you can see a model there. You can see, even without knowing what position all these players play, and obviously we'll touch on that as we go through, but you're looking at and thinking right age, right length of contract. You know, and they've all got some. I think they've all got something perhaps still to prove, which is important as well. You know, rather than bringing people in who are the finished article, who might feel that they know it all. These are players who I think will learn from Critchley and his coaching team, and can be moulded into what we want them to be.
So who did we sign after Jerry Yates? Was it Marvin Ekpateta or Oliver Sark? Is it Sarkic? Sam, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Sark. I think it was between him and the Marvin from Leyton Orient. But if you want to look at Sarkic, a player I've seen twice, maybe 3 times during my time at Fleetwood. Another young player, 23. He's one of those players that whenever I've seen him play, he likes to dribble at defenders or really get at defenders. And I think that's what fans like to see. I think I got to a few games last season, and when it's hoof ball and the ball's just coming straight back, fans aren't. You can feel the frustration around the ground. And I think with these players, Sarkic, Yates, Hamilton, which we'll come on to, and Anderson, they're going to be players that are going to get fans, well, they're stood in the north anyway, but off the seats and really trying to score goals. And I think with Critchley's model or the way he wants to play, from what I've seen, the minimal games we've all seen with him, it's going to be an exciting brand of football, and these players really fit the mould.
Sarkic was Burton, I think he was from, wasn't he? So
yeah, Burton.
This is the only interview I've not been able to do because I couldn't find a Burton Albion podcast anywhere. I couldn't find a Burton Albion sports report. I like to speak to the actual other podcasts with other clubs because you get a good insight from them. But yeah, they didn't have one.
Right.
So they're pretty Mickey Mouse, aren't they? So yeah.
Burton's one of the clubs that have kind of overachieved in the years, getting to the Championship on a really small budget. But I think League One is their level, and Sarkic probably comes with high regards from Burton fans. And again, 37 games last season, he's not been injured, only got 5 goals, 9 assists. So again, he comes with that attacking flair, and depends where he plays. Will he play in the wing in that kind of Delfonso role on the left, or will he play behind Yates? It's one of those ones with all these attacking options that Critchley has to sort out, and it's not a bad dilemma for a manager.
I was just about to say, nice problem to have. So let's move on to Marvin Ekpiteta. Good at pronouncing that name, so I had to practice it before I spoke to the Leyton Orient guy. So Marvin comes in on a 2-year contract with the option. 70 appearances, instrumental for the club's promotion to League Two in 2019. Was also rewarded for consistent performances that season by winning Leyton Orient's Young Player of the Year award. Commanding defender standing at 6'4". He's also represented England at 20 level. So Tim, kind of what we needed at centre half, isn't it? A big old unit, and
it sounds like he can play a bit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, from my conversation that I had, he's a ball. He can, he's not a hoof merchant by any stretch of the imagination. But it's good to have 6 goals coming from centre half.
Yeah. We'll talk about Liam. Somebody doesn't get sent off a lot either. He's only in the notes I've got here. He's only had 2 yellow cards in his career so far, which you want players. How many times have we seen our team reduced to 10 men with rash challenges and people having to make last ditch ones because they've not been in the right place at the right time, and hopefully we're going to see a consistent performer who can get the ball out to the full-backs, get the ball or alternatively into the centre midfield and let us play the football that we all want to see.
Sam, have you got any knowledge about Marvin? Has he crossed your radar at all? I know he comes from League Two, so
I've only seen the video when he signed, to be fair. I don't know much about him. His time at Leyton Orient, but again, one of the stats that came, again, 2 yellow cards last season. The video that Blackpool posted out when he signed, he was always getting the ball for the goalkeeper and trying to play, and it's not that easy lower down the leagues, and I think sometimes the higher up you are, the easier it is to do that. But again, how is he going to cope against more physical and pacier opponents? I've seen a lot of them in League One over the last 3 years especially, and again, he's got to be up for the task, but he seems to be that player and at that age we spoke about before that can grow and really push on. And if he's here, is it 2 years plus an extension if we need?
Yeah.
Again, I wish him all the best, and all the players all the best, and just hope he gets the right centre-half partner behind him.
Tim, let's move on to CJ Hamilton. Now, he's been given a 3-year contract with the option for a further year, over 100 appearances for the Stags at that One Call Stadium. The old mill was old to those of a certain vintage.
Yes. Wow, since I've been there.
Renowned for his blistering pace and having a keen eye for goal. So, what do you think of this guy?
I don't know why, but he's the one I'm most looking forward to see play. I've just got a feeling he's going to be an exciting player to watch. And there's no logic behind it other than I just have
sounds a bit like DJ as well.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like DJ. I listened to the podcast interview they did with the guy from Mansfield. and he spoke about him, as I recall, as being quite an exciting player to watch. And it's going to be interesting to see how we set up and who's going to be actually be playing, because when you look at Matt Scrafton's squad that he brought up with the 2 players in each position, there's going to be some serious competition in there, isn't there? Because we've still got a lot of the players from last year, and particularly in these attacking roles, there's going to be 2, if not 3 players vying for each position, which is great. But it will just be interesting to see who actually gets the shirt.
Right, moving on to Ethan Robson Sam, our latest signing from Sunderland, applied his trade at Grimsby Town last year. The first half of the season, anyway. Again, obviously, he is a League One player, but played in League Two last season. So I don't know if you got any knowledge on Ethan Robson at all.
No, just some of his stats from last season, really. Again, consistent with the games he played. 21 goals. I think he scored 3 with 2 in one game against. Scored 3 all season. Sorry, but I just get the feel he's going to be that holding midfielder. Will he replace Spearing? I'm not too sure, but I think you've got so much attacking options going forward. Sometimes you need that right balance, and I think he's going to be kind of that ball-playing midfielder. I don't want to compare him to Vorney, because Vorney was outstanding here, but I just get that feeling that he's going to put a bit of solid in that midfield, and I really do think he'll replace Spearing, who's obviously gone to Tranmere now.
I don't think the Sunderland fans were too happy about him going, from what I read. So it's obviously, I think they're trying to trim their wage bill, aren't they? I think it was 25 million or something absolutely ridiculous. Kieran Mcguire, Tim, you follow him, don't you? He got a list of wages, didn't he? And all the graphs were like, going upwards like that. And then it got to Sunderland at the end, and theirs went into outer space. It's astronomical.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's. I think every team needs a water carrier, don't they? The good teams, they always have one, and the comparison with Liverpool, with Henderson, and going back with Chelsea with the various players they've had playing in that type of position, and I think the comparison of the type of player we're talking about with Vaughan is probably the way we'll see him play, in that it will be about picking the ball up and keeping hold of it, making sure we keep possession, and then feeding it into the wings or into the players further up the pitch. And that's what you need, and you need somebody who can also break up play when the opposition have got it as well. And hopefully Ethan's going to have a great career with us.
Be good to see all these young guns anyway. So as Sam alluded to there, we've lost Jay Spearing, the captain. Bob Captain's gone to Tranmere. Ryan Hardy has gone to Plymouth. Another Ryan Edwards has gone to Dundee. Fons has gone. Oh no, the Fons has gone to Bolton. Tony Weston gone to Glasgow Rangers, and it was announced today, very strange, that Armand Nangelay has gone to a second-tier Turkish team. So, who wants to come in about that little lot of outgoing?
I don't mind coming in, if you don't mind me talking. Again, I'll start with Spearing. It's obviously top of our list. Personally, don't think I think it'll be a big miss in the dressing room. Don't think it's going to be a big miss on the pitch. I think the 5 or 6 games I went to last season, I think he got taken off after 60 minutes in most of those, and I just felt his legs were going a little bit. He didn't have that strength, power in midfield that you want in a team. So again, it's never nice to see, obviously, fans' favourites go, but I just think it was the right time for Spearing to step out. And Hardy seems to be one that, Ryan Hardy seems to be one that confused Blackpool fans a little bit with him going back to Plymouth. But again, a good chance for him to go and score more goals like he did last season. And we all know Delfonso and his relationship with Blackpool. I just think with some of these players, it was time to go, and their time's been done at Bloomfield Road.
So there was Ryan Edwards as well. Tim, I was like, who's he? Who's Ryan Edwards? He
came to us from Plymouth, didn't he? He started
quite well and then went really bad. Is that the player I'm thinking of?
I don't know whether he ever went bad. I just think he's got replaced by better ball players, I would have said, than him. But to be honest, of all the ones that have gone, the one I'm probably most disappointed about is Tony Weston. Because I know we only saw a little cameo from him, but I've never seen a player with as much pace as he had in that little spurt he did across the pitch to try and close the player down.
And he got the ball. Do you remember? He got the ball.
Yeah, no.
We stood at the same game, weren't we?
To be honest, I think if he'd started it, because I think he had a staggered start, didn't he? And he was wondering whether to go for it. And I think if he'd just gone for it, it'd have been clear through.
It is. It's strange, isn't it? Letting him go.
We didn't control it. I think that was the problem because he's only 16, as I understand it. In England, you can't sign professional terms, and consequently, I may be wrong on this, but that's my understanding. Blackpool could not control the fact that he left the club. And obviously, he'll no doubt have an agent and he's moved to Rangers, and no doubt the money will be good. But I think we've probably been robbed in inverted commas of seeing a very, very good young player develop over the next couple of years, which is just as a Blackpool fan is disappointing to see.
Is he Scottish? Is he Scottish or a local lad?
I understood he was local, but
right.
He's obviously come up through our youth setup and it was only a cameo chance, wasn't it, last season? But of all of them, that's the one where I think I wish we'd been able to keep him, because I think in 2 years' time he could be a very, very good player.
We've got this live document, the script going. I just added something as we were talking then, and I can see a pink cursor on there, and that's Sam. And he corrected what I've just written is, where are we short? Where are we short? So you're earning your corn straight away, Sam.
That's whatever I can bring to the podcast, really, isn't
it? So that popped in my head as we were just reeling off all those names. Where are we short? Where do you think we need strengthening? Sam, over to you.
I think there's a few positions, really. I think potentially the keeper position. Maxwell, from the games I saw, distribution was okay. It's up there, and a good shot stopper, which most keepers are anyway. I don't say shot stoppers; they should be able to save the ball, but really good with one-on-ones. Another centre half, maybe another ball playing one or someone else. I quite like Ryan Edwards when he was there. The few games I saw, he was quite solid, but again,
went shy.
The ball out of defence wasn't his strong point. But again, can we look at a loan Yates coming from Premier League or Championship? There's plenty of good defenders out there. Maybe even get Harry Suter sneaking from Fleetwood's wings.
Have you got any like little? Can you not like grab a few while just say, come over to Blackpool, it's Miles back now.
I've got him on Instagram. I'll send him a quick text and see what I can do. If he needs a new agent, he knows where to come. But
be a new career for you.
I think attacking wise,
I think we're all right up top, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're top heavy.
Bolster the option. Well, maybe in the more central areas. I think you've got the wide players to really cope. But I think the main ones for me would be maybe another midfielder, defender, and a goalkeeper.
What are your thoughts on this, Tim?
I think we're. I think most certainly in the goalkeeping front, I think we are a bit light at the moment, aren't we? And
we had an argument of Yannick v Maxwell last season, didn't we?
Yeah, and I was quite disappointed when Yannick went. To be honest, I felt that he was a good keeper, and I preferred him. But I think Maxwell, to be fair, did well when he came into the club, didn't he?
I like him. I think he's good.
Yeah. So. I think probably if we need anything, it's something. I would say centre midfield still. There's been all sorts of wind-up merchants, hasn't there, on Twitter and whatever, saying that Dewsbury
announced KDS announced Charlie Adams signed.
It's that double L in the Blackpool, isn't it? You've got to be very careful, and there's a few people retweeting it and celebrating, and then realising that it's not happening.
What an arsehole doing that, whoever's been doing that. I've blocked him now anyway, and I know a lot of people have reported him. So
it's very, very frustrating. I'm also going just to take the opportunity, and Sam will know who I'm speaking about, to mention a young lad who's just signed from us from Bolton called Bradley Holmes, who I had the the pleasure of managing when he was very, very young, 7 or 8 years old, maybe up to 9 as well. And he is the best player I've ever seen in youth football, running with a ball. And if he's progressed in the way that year by year, as he was as a 9-year-old, he's going to be somebody to look out for. Probably not this season, but I think, Sam, you saw his dad, didn't you, at Pullfoot last week? And he's a very determined young man, and he's determined to get himself on the bench before the end of this season. And just for the listeners out there, watch out for him. He went to Liverpool after he left Bolton Youth, and he was playing up a year for 2 years, and then he joined Bolton when they were still a Premiership outfit. And he's come home, and his dad's a local lad, has a gym in Blackpool, and he'll be big, he'll be strong, and I'm very, very much looking forward to see him. I may even start to take a couple of the youth team or reserve games if he's playing, so go and have a look. So that's just one for the future.
Good knowledge. Right, that was the ins and outs done with. Let's take a quick break and then move on to Tangerine topics. Time for a quick break in proceedings to say, if you're enjoying this content and want to say thanks for the pods, please consider joining our Patreon supporter program. Starting from the price of a pint per month, Patreon allows you to contribute towards our production costs, gear upgrades, and our drinks tab at the Dog. Your support will ultimately make the show bigger, better, and like eating a tin of prunes, more regular. You'll also get extra stuff in return, like all the podcasts before general release, backstage access to us and our guests, exclusive Patreon-only shows, and other random bits and pieces. So head on over to patreon.com/Seasiders Pod to find out more and hopefully sign up. And you can also pay for old Tim's ruin. So if anyone wants to join the Patreon program, there's a little bar tab I'm setting up there. So next pod, I'm going to chuck us a few beers. Hopefully we can do one in person again, actually.
Yeah, that'll be a novelty, won't it?
No, won't it? Yeah. Just one other quick piece of information is, once all lockdown's gone, I'm hoping to take this show on the road. I'm going to do a live show. So that's where, that's something to look forward to. So I've got some cash in the Patreon bank account now, so that'll be used to put a live show on. So something to look forward to. Right, first topic is the EFL salary cap. Now, I've not written anything here because I normally let Tim deal with boring financial topics like this.
The only slight problem is you didn't give me any advance warning, did you?
Yeah, so, I've not given him. Well, you normally know all about the Tim. You normally know all about these things anyway. So
but I've been away on holiday, haven't I? I've been steering through locks and whatever. So it's snuck
bailing out your house, building an ark,
getting animals together 2 by 2.
We shouldn't really laugh, Sam, because that's your bedroom as well, isn't it?
It was my bedroom. Now I'm in the lounge.
What, you on the sofa? Have you been?
Oh, you can't see behind, but yeah, there's a few pillows and a duvet on there. Yeah, so
the old dehumidifier in his room.
It's actually collecting a lot of water, to be fair. But
what a shitter of a year, 2020's been. It's like the icing on the cake for you.
Can only get better, can't it? I guess if we look forward, and this is hopefully the start of something good.
So the salary cap. The interesting thing to me is the level at which it's probably been fixed, because if you take the 2.5 million cap and without giving specifics, I do know that is significantly less, for instance, than the Oystons playing budget when the car came in February last year. So just to put it in context, clubs and players are going to be looking at negotiating contracts at significantly lower levels, in my view, than we've previously seen. That's probably a good thing for the game, because we were talking about Sunderland, weren't we, and about it going off the graph in relation to how much they're paying players. But it's going to be very interesting, and forgive me if I don't know the exact figure, but the League Two cap is significantly lower than that.
1.5.
Yeah. So now there are some exceptions to that. Firstly, anybody who's already contracted, that's not included. So if you've got a player, so for instance, like if you look at Greg at Sunderland, who's probably on ridiculous money, he for the balance of his contract, he will be deemed to be receiving an average League One wage, whatever that average wage is. So dividing his squad size by 2.5 million, he'll be deemed to have that as a salary, whatever is actually being paid. And that will apply to any player in the league until existing contracts run down. It will also apply to players of teams that get relegated. So when you're a team relegated into the division, they are still going to have an advantage if they keep their squad players together. And the other important exception is that under 21s are excluded. So if you have a very, very good under 21, who you can basically pay them what you want. So if you bring a young 21-year-old in from a Premier club and pay them a very high wage, that won't. They'll just be deemed to have an average wage as well. So there are a few exceptions to the rule. I can understand the under 21 one in particular, and of course you can't interfere with existing contracts. So, and we know that the PFA are very, very unhappy with it as it is, because obviously they're going to see their members' salaries and the subs that they pay to the PFA reduce by a significant amount. And the worrying thing, I think, is that there's a talk in the Championship of it being 18 million. And that's such a huge gulf
chasm
between the Championship and League One. It's going to make it very, very difficult to transition, I think, both ways. It's going to be very, very difficult. And that worries me that there's such a huge gap.
Well, you've got parachute payments, haven't you, for each club when they come out of the Premier League? Well, I don't know what they are now. It's like 17, 18 million when we were down there.
Yeah, it was. Well, we received 48 million pounds, didn't we, in total over the 4 years? 2 lots of 16 and then 2 lots of 8, if I remember rightly. And they do vary depending on a number of other factors. But I think the parachute payments now are like double that. So if you've got a Premier League player, say he signed a 3-year deal and he gets, I think they get relegated and he's on 100 grand a week, does that not matter then? No. If they get relegated? Well, at the moment there is no salary cap in the Championship. This is mooted, isn't it? The League One and League Two have voted for it, and the Championship have still to decide. But yes, in principle, if you have players on 100 these days, it can be £200,000 a week, can't you? In a team that's relegated, they can carry on paying them those salaries for the duration of their agreements.
So, Sam, just coming in to you on this. I'm just reading here. It says wages, bonuses, taxes, image rights, plus agents and other relevant fees will be included within the cap. So it doesn't give you a lot of leeway, does it, to play decent wages to attract the best players? And coming from Fleetwood, that's what Fleetwood did, didn't they? To pay decent wages to get decent players. So do you think that'll affect them in any way?
I think it, not just Fleetwood, I think it will trouble most teams. I think worked it out, if it's 52 weeks, the split between you is £48,000, which is not a lot really, especially if you want to get a good young player through. But again, it's where managers are going to have to be clever now and look at the targets and the money. Are they going to suit the team? There's going to be so many more factors involved than can we just bring in this player? You look at Salford, for example. I think they had someone on. What was he called?
It was the guy. It was the guy from Aberdeen, wasn't he?
4 to 6
Rooney.
There's other players as well. But again, it opens the door for players in the League Two to potentially go to the National League, where there's no caps, where they can potentially bring players from the league into non-league.
So, Tim, do you think? Obviously, we all know what happened in Man City. They got fined, but they got away with it basically through very creative ways of accounting. Would you
I'm just spending more money on lawyers than anybody else?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think someone will be able to subvert this. They always do. They always find a way, don't they?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it's going to be policed and how they're going to deal with infringements. But what we have seen, I think, in the Championship, in particular, where we've got breach of fair play rules, is we have seen the EFL. You know, I'm the first one to criticise, but we have seen the EFL actually, albeit it takes them a while, to come down on some of these clubs. And we've seen Sheffield Wednesday, haven't we, with a very significant points deduction. The argument was, well, should it have been this year or next year? I think there's other teams like Derby and Birmingham, and they are being dealt with in very, very strict ways, and I think that's the only way to do it. And they are going to have to spend some money on policing it, because, as you say, it's creative accounting is going to make it very, very difficult to work out what's actually going on. And your offshore accounts, all sorts of other employment that they could give certain players. So for non-footballing activities. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But there'll always be attempts to circumvent without. I mean, going back to the days when there was a maximum wage for players, lots of clubs had very, very creative ways of making sure that the best players got significantly more than the maximum wage, and this will be no different.
Yeah,
because effectively we're going to have a maximum wage, aren't we? We're going to have a wage in Div 1 and Div 2 and possibly the Championship that effectively is going to cap wages at a relatively modest level.
Need to get Jimmy Earl to abolish that salary cap. He did it with the old maximum wage, didn't he?
I think overall, I think it's a good thing. I'm just slightly concerned there's such a disparity between the Championship. I think probably League One could have been slightly higher, and I think League Two. But you've got to look at every club seems to be losing money. So I think the owners have been quite keen on it from the point of view of it's particularly with the pandemic. I think that's probably
brought into focus.
The revenue streams have just melted away. I mean, who's going to advertise in a football stadium at this moment in time without knowing when fans are going to be in? It's particularly if you're not on TV on a regular basis, it's going to be very difficult, and to get that type of revenue in, and that for most clubs that's crucial. So something like this is needed without a shadow of a doubt.
Do you think this is why Blackpool have done business early, knowing the potential of salary caps?
I've heard it mentioned that could happen, and that there would be a logic on it. And then having players on 2-3 year deals, they wouldn't be covered by the rules, would they? So
a thought out there. I know I've heard you talk about it, and it doesn't make sense. You're doing your business early,
and because obviously that cap came in last week. I don't know the trigger date for it because I wasn't going to tip off to prep for it, but I'm assuming it will be with immediate effect or 1st of September, and so anybody who's leaving their purchasing of players to whenever that trigger date passes is clearly going to be at a disadvantage.
To be a fly on the wall at Fielding Towers and listening to the fireside chats about EFL salary caps and the like.
We have fun.
No wonder God's trying to strike you down.
I hope we're not going to get. I hope there's not 10 plagues coming.
Or plague of locusts.
Plague of locusts.
Speaking of your house,
plague of cods, plague of knobbers,
plague of cods. Yeah, coming to get Sam in your new in-house river.
Feeding through the sewage, come to us. Yeah, more than welcome.
So Tim, just come back to your house. Obviously, you've got a very famous neighbour in the neighbourhood, Charlie Adam. It'd be a miss if we didn't talk about him. I know we've talked about the players and the incomings and outgoings, but Charlie's obviously been released by Reading. Just as an aside before we talk about Charlie, I went to Billy Bob's American parlour and outdoor play area on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday with Eddie? And guess who was right in front of me in the queue?
Chazza.
One Charlie Adam, yeah. He's with his 2 kids. I thought of saying something, but I thought, no, I'll be a bit of a dick. And but he did look very trim. He looked in really good shape, and he just looked fit and healthy. And just to compare and contrast food consumed at the said parlour, I had a double cheeseburger, chips, a Coke with an ice cream afterwards, and I was like sat on the table opposite Charlie, and all he had was a burger, the burger meat, and that was it, and a glass of water. So he's obviously seriously taking him, he's taking his fitness seriously, and he looked to be in really good shape. And dare we talk about him joining Blackpool again?
I think the this salary cap is going to make it very difficult to look at something like that. But yeah, I mean, I think he could be the catalyst for a very, very good season. And I was disappointed. I know some people say he shouldn't go back, but I think last season he would have done a very, very good job for us. This year, I'm not sure whether Critchley will see him as part of his system. I think, you look at the demographic of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and I think he will probably, even though I think he would add value to the team massively, I'm not sure that he would want to go back there and bring him back as much as we would like perhaps to see it.
But Sam, isn't he that experienced head that I think this team is crying out for?
I was going to say the exact same thing. I think when you look at kind of the spear and he was organising midfield, and I think Charlie would do the exact same if he came back. We look at Robson in there. Garrity, I think loads of fans think the season's going to evolve around him. That's a running joke. But I've seen him at Poolfoot a few times. He's working with this fitness instructor, Dave Mendonca, I think his name is. Funnily enough, Bradley, who we spoke about before for the youth team, was training there with Charlie. And again, he just looks lean, he looks fit, he looks probably hungrier than ever. It would just be, like I said, the catalyst to come here and be that player who can make a difference. And we saw last year when he went to Reading what difference he made down there, and his passing still at the top with those Charlie Adam crossfield passes and driving at defenders. Again,
his dead ball
might have an issue.
Yeah, well, I guess it'd be down to Charlie and his wage demands. I think if he's prepared to drop his demands and come and play for us, it's probably his last season, isn't it, in football, if not the second last, then perhaps offering him a coaching role alongside playing with the option of moving into a full-time coaching role after that might sweeten the deal. So personally, I'd love to see him back. I think just having his aura around the place, his experience, his wisdom, teaching the young lads, a thing or two. So
I think he's done his coaching badges, hasn't he, Charlie? So again, that, like you said, that could swing things in his favour. But I'd love to see him back at Blackpool. I think he's one that gets the fans excited. Again, you'd sell shirts with his name on the back of them. He's one of those players who would bring an impact on and off the field. And like I said, he lives across the road from us. He's living local for a number of years now. It'd be great to see him back in Tangerine.
Was his house flooded, Tim?
He's got a steep drive.
Yeah, he's more elevated than we are.
Ours goes down. Ours goes down to the house. His goes down to the road.
His is the mansion on the hill where the workers' cottages and in the grounds.
There was a moat around his house, I would have thought.
Cod swimming in it.
It's not going to be a running joke, that isn't it, all season. Cods. I'll be prepared.
No more fishy tales, I promise. Right, Evo's gone to Bolton, not Blackpool related directly, but was anyone surprised that he went there, Tim?
I thought he might want to see Barrow sit through the first season, to be honest. But it's notwithstanding the problems that Bolton have got, it is a great opportunity for him as a manager. Bolton are still a decent sized club with decent attendances, and no doubt he'll be paid.
Bolton, otherwise known as Blackpool B-side.
Yes. As we'll go on to say, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've got a lot of time for Evo. He had them playing great football at Barrow. I went up there beginning last season and saw it. Very much Holloway style style approach. And I think Bolton fans are in for an interesting season with him at the helm. And at the end of the day, as much as we rib each other, it would be great to have the likes of Preston, Blackpool, Bolton all playing in the Championship and having some great derby games. So I, for one, do actually hope that at some point, he's able to turn them around and get them back playing at a slightly higher level. As long as it's behind us and we can beat them.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you've said there, Tim. It pains you to want Bolton to do well, doesn't it? But I wish Evo absolutely all the best, and I really, really hope he succeeded. And as Tim said, if we all get playing in the same division again, all the better than they're playing the likes of Burton and Fleetwood.
Proper derby.
Right, Sam, let's talk about Liam Feeney, rumoured to be leaving. And he was also given the club's Player of the Season award last year. So what's your thoughts on Liam Feeney? Do you think we should keep him?
Again, is he one of those players whose time's up? It's a tough one when you're bringing in the players we spoke about earlier, loads of pace, potential to improve and get better throughout the season.
His foil, Nanjale's obviously gone to that Tupney Halfpenny team in Turkey as well. So who's he going to put those crosses onto the Jerry Yates maybe to get on the end of them? But
I think his assist and what he did last season was great, but I just don't think he fits, in my opinion, in probably Critchley's view. Is 33, 34, mate? Well,
he's getting on a bit.
But I just think his time's up. Again, he's done well to win the club's Player of the Season award. Not easy to win, but for me, I think with the players that have come in, Sarkic, we've got Anderson, Yates, there's too many hot prospects there for Feeney to be in the starting 11 for me. But
okay, yeah,
that's my opinion.
Fair enough. Tim, what's your thought?
I think we may have seen the best of him last season. It would not surprise me if he ends up at Bolton, to be honest, because
hasn't he been there before?
Yeah, he's played for them before, and and that will be the type of move I think which might be right for him.
Yeah.
I don't see him regularly starting this season, if I'm honest, because I think he's the wrong age demographic. I think Critchley's building for the future, and he has a limited shelf life. I thought it was fantastic for us last season, but that was his best season in recent years, and I don't think he's going to get any better. I think we've seen the best.
Brutal, boys, brutal. There's no room for sentiment in football, is there?
There isn't.
Right, we've got a new kit by a decent brand for once, Puma, better than Herrera or MGC Sports or whatever these crappy ones we've had in the past. So, what do we all think of it?
I've not actually seen it. Sorry, Sam. I was going to say I've not actually seen it yet. Obviously, I've seen pictures of it, but I've not actually seen it in the flesh. So I'm probably going down to the club shop, sort my season ticket out at some point. So I'll have a good look then. But actually having a decent manufacturer, I think those who've got them have said it appears to be really good quality. We don't know the away kit yet, but I have reason to believe we're going back to the white with the tangerine shorts, which for me is iconic.
You've always banged that drum, haven't you?
Oh, it should never change. Why? How can you not have a kit that we've won the Anglo-Italian Cup in, we've won playoff finals in, we've played the best game of football ever in that kit at Forest. I just think for a number of reasons we shouldn't, and I just think it looks classic. So, but the blue one for me should always be the third kit. So, hopefully that's going to happen. But it's encouraging that we've got a decent manufacturer, and hopefully we're not going to see the supply issues that we had last year as well.
So Sam, my only beef with it is it's a template carbon copy design in that it's got that white kind of shoulder stripe, and it kind of looks similar to all the other clubs. What are your thoughts?
I agree, and I look back at last Puma kit I saw was Fleet was the first year I was there, and again that had the red and the white shoulder strap, should we say. I thought they could have been a little bit more creative, the designer of it. Again, they've obviously come to the club with an idea to keep it simple, but I would have gone with again, I'm not in the kit design kind of industry, but again, I just think they could have done a little bit more with just the style of it. I thought it was a bit plain, but
yeah, there's not a lot. I don't think there's a lot of thought gone into it, to be honest. They've just taken a template design and applied it. And the shade of tangerine's right, but I'm not a massive fan of that. What did you call it? That white thing?
I guess shoulder, but it's a kind of a
shoulder. Yeah,
I'm trying to find a picture of it now, but
I'm just looking on the club website now. Yeah, I'm sure there's financial reasons for just pumping out the same kit across clubs, but I personally like to have something a bit unique. We've got unique club colours, so yeah, it's reasonable. But,
I think you look at the other Puma stuff that's in the shop, John, and the training gear, and just looking at a picture of Critchley from the game against Southport. Nice design, but again, there's with Puma compared to other brands, you've got that bit more reach and a brand that people are aware of.
I guess it's important that we just go. If you want to buy one, just go and buy one. Just support the club in any way we can at the moment. So I won't moan about it. But I think in fact, I will. I think the kids' prices are. Oh, yeah. I'll put it on the show notes. I just think they're a bit overpriced. 45 quid for a home shirt and 35 for a kid. So for a 7-year-old, it's going to cost me.
I can only compare it to Fleetwood, but again, you can get kids' kits for 15, 20 quid, shorts and socks, and again,
can you?
Quite a deprived area, but I thought their model was right. Get as many people, the town, 24,000 to as many as possible, and they did. I must admit, get rid of a few stocks. So I just think, yeah, it's pricey, but I think that's the way kits are going these days.
So how much was it for a Fleetwood shirt for a kid? Did you say?
I think it was like. They did them in different sizes. From the top of my head, I think it was like 30 or 40 for like an adult, and for a kid's kit, you got it as a package. I think it was about 15 or 20 quid.
So that's the price point I think we should be looking at, particularly for kids stuff. So if I'm buying a junior home shirt, that's 35 quid.
You look at when we're in the Premier League or the year went up, being at Cotton Hall and seeing so many kids wearing the shirts, and I know you guys have touched on it a lot in the podcast in the past, but now with the new owners in, I know he's been here a year, is get the town buzzing again, get the town back in Tangerine, get rid of that Man United and Liverpool shirts, and should be proud this town of the club we've got.
Anyway, one thing I'm expecting, John, is next Monday is that you're going to turn up in full kit W of walking football.
I didn't go on Monday actually because you weren't going. I didn't want to just.
You didn't want to go in because you didn't know anybody. I'll hold your hand next Monday.
Right, okay. You came up to the podcast once as a FKW, didn't you? Remember? Do you remember that time?
Yeah. Got plenty of stick for it. It was training kit wear, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was. In fact, I've got the top on now. It's last year's. Or indeed even the year before, I think I just got I got it in the sale when it was dead cheap. So
you can get Blackpool FC face masks now, can't you? For 8 quid. Why haven't they done them in Tangerine though?
They do a black one now though, don't they? Which looks a lot. But I didn't like the white one. Apparently, it gets dirty quite quickly.
Well, it will do. Yeah.
So they've got a black one. So I might pick one of those up just for a game or something. I think we're going to have those masks knocking around for a while, unfortunately. So you might as well.
Who'd ever thought we'd be talking about buying face masks with Blackpool badges on the front? It's just surreal. Right.
They look quite good. It'll look good with all the muckers and they'll all stand with them on.
Yeah. With those complemented by those jackets you can get that the rougher elements tend to wear, where it's got those glasses kind of built into the hood. Have you seen them? Goggles, yeah.
Them, hasn't he?
My youngest son's got one of those.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
He's got one of those Hooley jackets, has he?
Yeah.
Get him a mask for his birthday. He'll look the part, won't he?
Oh, they'll look a right sight, won't they?
Right. Kieran Donnelly. Probably one for you, this, Sam. left Fleetwood to come back to Blackpool. Who'd have thought it, eh? That we're now poaching staff off Fleetwood. How the tables have turned.
Yeah, it's a good move for Kieran. I think what he's done there in 3 years is amazing. I've sat in the office with him since day one, and again, he's a local lad, as I think Sadler said in the press release. And what he's done with Fleetwood, especially looking more at under 18s and under 16s, 17s, they've got a group of players together that when they get to that level, that they're ready to really push on. And they should have won the league this year. Due to COVID, they just lost out. And obviously they reached the third or fourth round of the FA Youth Cup this year, travelled down to Millwall and played the likes of Watford. So and he did the same at Blackpool just before he left. So really
it's incredible that he did as well as he did at Blackpool, considering the constraints he's working under. Yeah.
Yeah, what he's told me was unbelievable. I think what he said, I'll read one of his the potential here to achieve something great at the academy and the club is now real. It feels like a new Blackpool football club, and I can't wait to get started. And I know I spoke to him before, and he's just excited about the project. And I think, like I said, that similar to last year, there's a new start and a new way for Blackpool to really go up back to the Championship and maybe one day the Premier League. But isn't it one of the three pillars that Sadler wants 5 academy graduates in the team by 2025?
Yeah, that's right.
And again, Kieran's done that at Fleetwood. I think there's 6 or 7 that have gone through to get first team contracts. So
okay,
I wish him all the best, and I'll see if he needs anyone to help us with his PA stuff. Get back in.
He might be a good guest to get on here. Actually, do you think you can have a word with him?
Yeah, I'm sure he would do it. To be fair, but yeah, I'll send him a text afterwards.
All right, cool. Right, so we're over an hour, so let's wrap things up with the final piece of news that's come out of Bloomfield Road is the announcement of season tickets. Blackpool Football Club has announced season tickets will go on sale from 10 a.m. Wednesday, the 5th of August, which was last week, with early bird discounts available for existing and new season ticket holders. So we've got some key dates, which I'm glad Sam's done this. He's written this in the script because the early bird pricing discount actually ends on Tuesday, the 18th of August, which isn't far away, is it? 6 days away. After that, you've got 19th of August, all season tickets on full sale at full price in any available seat. And the 1st of September, deadline for 1920 season ticket holders to keep their current seat. With immediate effect after this date, any seats that had been held will be made available for new season ticket holders to purchase or potentially relocate to. Tim, can you see that at all?
I've got it printed off here.
All right, okay. Can you see the prices?
Yeah, I just zoomed in on the club website and.
Okay.
Oh, it's a bit small, the writing for the prices, but I'll have a go.
Sam, do you want to just read it out then, if you can?
Yeah, so you're looking at the early bird for the North Stand, blocks A to H, adults 269, seniors 219, under 18s 99, under 12s 46, and under 5s will cost absolutely nothing. And that's the same for the West Stand, J, K, P, and Q. And then it goes up a little bit if you want to go closer towards the dugouts.
I think the 269 for the adult was the same as last year, as I recall. I think the under 18 price, that is cheaper, isn't it? The 99. I think they've dropped the price there.
Yeah, I paid 129 last year. In fact, it's 46. That's gone down a lot.
No, but I think I know because Elliot, my youngest, he mentioned that his price was 99. I'm sure I paid 129 for him last year, or maybe even 149. So I think they've obviously clearly targeted the younger element, which is good to see. You know, it's very good.
Under 12s are 46. So I paid about 80 last year for Eddie's, and he was only 6.
You can buy him his football top now, can't you?
Yeah. Damn, you're gonna making me spend money here, Tim. He does need one actually.
There is, that at least there's the balance there, isn't there? You know, so we've said, look, we think the shirts are a bit expensive for the youngsters, but if the season ticket price is right, then the overall cost is still going to be less, isn't it? So I think credit where credit's due there. I think that's a great a great price reduction, and I know the interim board took a bit of stick for removing the cheaper pricing for the OAPs between they weren't OAPs, were they, between 60 and 65, and we targeted it at the 18 to 22 bracket, that saving, but and I think there was probably some justification to say that there wasn't enough of a discount for those younger supporters, because they are our future, and really once you hook them for life.
Yeah,
so
right.
make it affordable. Particularly, they're coming with an adult. They'll buy stuff in the shop. They'll buy stuff at the refreshment counters, and you are getting hopefully a long-term commitment out of them.
Get him spending, as Brian Potter said on Phoenix Nights. Just going down the list there, we've got Southwest Family Stand, which is where my season ticket was last season. That's reduced to $229. I think I paid about $280 last year, perhaps a bit more. And under 12s is only 23 quid. And remember, I paid 80 quid for his last year, so it's going to cost me 23 quid for him. So if
you remember what happened, the family stand was introduced actually by Michael Bolingbroke, and I remember him because he wanted to target just the cheaper children's prices in there to get all the youngsters in one stand, and then offer add-ons that would make it worth the while being there. And he was quite frustrated when we had to unravel that, because obviously that first season back, everybody wanted to go to their own seats and have they didn't want to break up these groups of people who watch the games together. But the reality is, I think, we should encourage, the younger supporters to sit together, because there can be some choice language, can't there? Particularly in the north, and I've seen some very young children in blocks A and B, and I'm not quite sure it's quite the place for them. So every credit, and a properly run family stand with facilities in there targeted at the youngsters is a great thing to have, and price it right, and that's where people will go.
I mean, at that price, 23 quid for an 12, it's an absolute no-brainer. I would have bought one anyway, but Eddie doesn't want
a game, doesn't it? I guess.
Well, yeah, he doesn't always want to go to every game anyway. So, in his words, it's boring.
Well, hopefully it won't be now.
Simon Grayson, weren't we, for the first half? But you can't moan at that. And again, you're looking at, can only compare to Fleetwood. They were 23 quid a game for the, I think it was on the 12s.
Yeah.
So you can't really argue again there that, like my dad said, it's that they're the lifeblood and they're the ones that are coming through. And if you can hook them on, you've got them for life. Yeah.
So one closing, what should we call this? Not an issue, but some people are saying some fans are being cautious about actually buying season tickets full stop with the COVID-19. The spectre of COVID-19 hanging over us. Some people are being a bit cautious and not committing to it. So, Tim, Sam, you wrote that, didn't you? A little show note.
Just something on social media that I saw. Again, something happened, I think, when the Oyster money, when they were leaving and the interim board coming in, buy it now, and it's similar. I think you've got to respect everyone's decision, and not everyone can afford to just. Again, I know you've got options to pay monthly and everything, but not everyone can afford that, and I think fans have got to respect other people's decision whether they buy one now to support the club without stepping in the stands or just hold on. But no, it's just something I saw and I thought it might be a good talking point.
Yeah. So, what's your opinions on that, Tim?
I sort of endorse what Sam said. I think you shouldn't criticise anybody for forming a view as regards what they want to do. People have got a limited budget, and we're facing the prospect of perhaps not getting into the ground until 2021. And the amount of 4 of them in the family, can they really afford in that scenario to be committing significant sums when they, with all they need at the end of the day is a 10 quid pass on iPlayer. But equally, I think there's, those who can afford it should support the owners, because one thing I can say with some certainty is he's having to seriously put his hand in his pocket at the moment, and he may have relatively deep pockets, but there's a there's a commitment, I think, from him, and it's a commitment that I think we need to match because, he's delivering not just on the field but off the field. We've seen improvements at Squires Gate. As far as I'm aware, he's steaming ahead to with the training ground. And,
Neil Critchley was digging the footings, wasn't he?
He was, I'm hearing a few little tidbits that things that were like always things for me, like the louvres and the, and all that rust around the ground that's been dealt with. There's a lot of work hasn't been, but it's on his to-do list. Dealt with. And we've got to put something back in. We can't leave it all to him. And so on that basis, I'm sure that there'll be plenty of people who will commit.
I think a lot of people who've been on furlough, and I think all of us haven't been spending a lot of money recently, have we? So we all have surplus cash. People haven't been having holidays generally. So
apart from me,
apart from Tim, he's a unique case. You didn't go abroad though, did you?
No, staycation.
Yeah, I think everybody should. I just completely agree with what Tim said there. Everybody should just support the club in any way they can, and does it really matter if we miss a few games at the beginning of the season? I'd say not. So just get your hands in your pockets and once again, get him spending, Jerry. Get him spending.
Right, I've got one more thing to mention, if I can,
go on,
before you wrap up. And it's only a little plug for a very nice gentleman called Gavin Bell. Some people might have seen it on AVFTT a few days or weeks ago. He's launched a book called Because It's Saturday. And one of the chapters regales the story of his visit to Blackpool still during the boycott period to watch a game. And he came and had a chat with me, and he spoke with a few other people at the club, including Jeremy Smith. It's an interesting read. There's only one chapter on Blackpool, but I can recommend it. I've only read our chapter at the moment, but there's other chapters on other team like Berwick Rangers and Queen's Park and Aki Stanley, and he basically goes and meets the people who are involved with the club. And of course, at Blackpool, he wasn't able to meet anybody from the Oystons, but he did meet a lot of fans. And so, if anybody likes that type of read, I can recommend it. So. There's a little plug for him because he came and spent a week in Blackpool, and it's worth a read.
And Timmy's on a 20% salon fee for all revenues generated. It's not really. I'm joking.
I should have got a plug anyway because seasoned podcast viewers and listeners will know that we've had no break in this program, not of the usual type, while we fill the meter to do another 40 minutes of Zoom.
Fill the meter.
So, courtesy of BBE, we've now got unlimited Zoom access, haven't we?
Just for the uninitiated, what Tim's talking about there is Zoom meetings. They've got a limit of 40 minutes, which we're too tight to pay. But yeah, BBE Law has kindly agreed to. Well, you haven't really sponsored of it. You're just using BBE Law's Zoom account, aren't you? So, yeah.
Exactly.
So, yet another plug. Right, I'll press the button again. A little background music. There we go. That indicates. We're off. Right. Hour and 18. I was trying to peg this at an hour, but there was that much to talk about, wasn't there?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to this Friday to see this. Is it your first preview show this Friday, Sam?
Well, I've not planned to do it this Friday.
No.
I think.
Oh no, it's as the season starts.
Yeah, just before the season starts.
I understand that the reason we don't know anything too much about friendlies at the moment is because there's a bit of a policy of only announcing them in relatively short notice. So to discourage people from travelling, perhaps, I don't know. So I think that's right, isn't it, Sam? That the EFL are sort of encouraging teams obviously of 24, 48 hours notice. So I'm not going to say what, but I believe we may have a decent friendly coming up. So watch this space. And the Thunder's come again, so I better get into my garage.
Right.
It's rumbling out there.
Get your pump going.
Get my pump going.
The music's run out again. I have to play it again. I've just remembered there was that friendly, wasn't there, away at Southport? We've not covered that. Very quickly. I put on Twitter, it was like watching a a 1980s highlights video with the quality of the video. First off, there was a red spot in the middle. Then it was going flashing black on, off, on, off, and off. Then there was a message appeared on the screen saying, your battery is low. Change the battery. Did anyone see it?
I've not.
Have you not seen it?
No,
Oh, it was hilarious.
I've heard all about it. I mean, you couldn't tell who the players were.
No, I put it on and it was that far away as well. You just couldn't make out the players. It was like dots. So it was cute.
I believe it was Southport's video rather than it being Blackpool's, as I understand it. So hopefully for any home game, the quality will be significantly better.
I'd like to think so. It was like one of the Darren Whiting productions from days gone by. Anyway, right, third time lucky. I'll press the outro music. Can you hear it?
No.
Can you hear it?
No.
No.
We've got another half an hour to do yet.
What we normally do, Sam, here, we wrap up. When I play this music, we tend to wrap up, but people tend to yap on. So, right, anyway. We'll come again soon, listeners. We won't leave it that much longer, but we'll do as many interviews as I can in the meantime. So thanks a lot, Tim, for your input.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sam. Good debut.
Thank you.
All remains to be said is thanks for listening, thanks for downloading, and ruined dirt twat up the pool.
Up the pool.
Up the pool. Hi all, just a few quick messages before you head off. I'd just like to ask, if you haven't already, to please leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. It helps the show grow, gain more exposure. So if you go to seasiderspodcast.co.uk/review, that'll redirect you to the iTunes review site. So if you could do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Just to make you aware, you can listen to this show on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Pocket Casts, and Google Podcasts. And if you're not listening to this on a podcast app, I highly encourage you to do so, because it is the best way to listen, because you get them sent automatically. If you're on social media, we are on there, so please do give us a follow. If you're not doing so already, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Seasiders Pod is my handle, so I'm sure if you search for that or just Seasiders Podcast, you'll find us on there. So if social media is not your thing, we do have an email list. So if you want to sign up to that, you'll get an email whenever we do release a new show. So go to seasiderspodcast.co.uk/email and sign up there. And finally, if you do enjoy what we're doing here and you want to chip in a few quid every month to help pay for our production costs and gear upgrades, please consider joining our Patreon supporter program, where you get lots of exclusive content and services in return. So head on over to seasiderspodcast.co.uk/support to find out more. Right, I promise that's the last you'll hear from me. See you on the next pod. Over and out.